Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, both the price of Bitcoin and the daily Bitcoin RSI are trading on the edge of significant levels of support, which will be extremely important to pay attention to. So more on that later in the video. Definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a quick update on the US stock market. This right here is the Nasdaq 100 index on the daily time frame, and so far today, the Nasdaq 100 index has actually dumped into a new yearly low. So this obviously means that both the September low and the June low have been broken to the downside for the stock markets. And now, technically speaking, even though breaking into a new lower low is clearly a bearish signal, we do have a possible bullish divergence pattern forming if we confirm a daily candle close as a lower low and a higher low in the daily RSI, which as of right now has not currently been confirmed. Because obviously we still need to see this daily candle close as a lower low compared to this previous daily candle close towards the end of September. And then after we confirm a lower low in the daily candle closes, then we would need to see a green daily candle close to confirm and cement in place a higher low in the daily RSI. And so once again, this means that at least as of right now, this potential bullish divergence is not yet confirmed and not active on the chart. And in case you're new to this channel, the reason why I'm covering the stock market on a crypto channel is because generally speaking, the price of Bitcoin and really the overall crypto market is very correlated to the stock market. In fact, more specifically, the crypto market is very correlated with the Nasdaq 100 index, which are the tech stocks over in the US. And so generally speaking, when we see the tech stocks dump, that usually means we're going to see a dump for Bitcoin. And when we see a pump in the stock market, that usually means we're going to see a pump across the crypto markets. But even though this correlation between the stock market and the crypto market is still very high, what is very interesting to see, especially today, as the stock market is dumping into a new lower low, is the fact that Bitcoin has not dumped into a new lower low today. And in fact, as of right now, at least at the time of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is currently up around 9 to 10% from the June low, while the US stock market is currently trading below the June low. So this obviously shows that at least as of right now, the price of Bitcoin is actually quite resilient to the rest of the markets. But even though the price of Bitcoin is currently holding up better than the US stock markets, we still of course have our fair share of bearish signals at the moment. For example, in the daily Bitcoin RSI, we're potentially beginning to see a break below this uptrend line of support. And now once again, when it comes to the RSI, due to the fact that by default it is based on candle closes, we still need to see a daily candle close in the Bitcoin price in order to cement the RSI in place and confirm a break to the downside right here. And so at least as of right now, at the time of recording this video, we haven't yet seen a confirmed break below this uptrend line of support in the daily Bitcoin RSI. But if we do end up seeing that playing out, then zooming out on this daily time frame, what we can see historically speaking is obviously that this is not a good signal for the price of Bitcoin. It is clearly a bearish signal because, for example, one of the first significant times this has happened this year so far was back towards the end of the first quarter in this year, so towards the beginning of April. And in fact, if you were watching my videos back then, I was actually warning about this break to the downside all the way back then, saying that this break to the downside in the daily Bitcoin RSI basically means we're exiting this shorter term relief and potentially about to begin another leg to the downside. And obviously this happened towards the beginning of April. This also happened again towards the beginning of June, and more recently it happened again towards around the middle of August. Although what's very interesting about the most recent example, the one that we saw back in the middle of August, is that at least as of right now, the price of Bitcoin has not actually broken into a new low. We have not yet broken below the June low, whereas these previous examples, we saw the price of Bitcoin pretty much straight away break below the previous lows. And so the fact that this time around, yes, we still played this out as a bearish signal, but as of right now, we have not broken below this previous June low. This technically means that the much larger bearish trend at play here is potentially losing bearish momentum. And we can actually see this is the case if we simply measure out each of these moves in this first example from the point where the daily Bitcoin RSI actually broke below this uptrend line of support right here on this candle. We saw the price of Bitcoin crash by around around 44% not long after that bearish signal. But then at the next example where we saw the daily Bitcoin RSI break below the uptrend line of support, that was on this daily candle, and then we saw a crash of around 42%. And then looking at this third example this year so far, where we saw a break below the uptrend line of support in the daily Bitcoin RSI, that was right around here, and from that daily candle, from the highest point down to the lowest point so far, that's been around a 28% crash. And so once again, if we simply look at the numbers on the chart, we had a 44% crash approximately, and then a 42% crash approximately, and then a 28% crash approximately. And now we're potentially at the fourth time this happened this year so far. And so if we do end up seeing this signal confirmed, because once again, it hasn't yet confirmed at the time of recording this video, and if the trend were simply to continue to play out, then this could still play out as a bearish signal, because obviously all of these still played out as a bearish signal. Although if this same trend were to simply continue to play out, then we should be expecting a move to the downside less than 28% based on this trend that we've seen so far this year. But anyway, while we wait for this signal to potentially confirm, looking at the 12-hour Bitcoin charts, because right now we do actually have a rising wedge pattern forming, which is a bearish pattern technically speaking, because roughly around 2/3 of the time this type of pattern breaks to the downside, and about 1/3 of the time it breaks to the upside. And in fact, right now at the time of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is potentially breaking to the downside, but once again, we haven't yet confirmed this break to the downside with a daily candle close, at least as of right now. But in case you're wondering, this uptrend line of support that I've got here is sitting at around 19.3k. So that will be important for the daily candle close coming up in around 5 hours from now. But if you zoom into the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, right now the price of Bitcoin is currently running into a Fibonacci level, which is currently acting as some short-term support, and that is sitting at around 19.1k approximately. So once again, 19.3k is still important for the price of Bitcoin to try to hold above. Otherwise, if we confirm a break below 19.3k, that is technically a bearish signal, although we still have some immediate support at around 19.1k. But if that level of support ends up breaking, then the next short-term level of support that I'll be paying attention to is sitting at around 18.7k approximately. And then anything below 18,700, then I'll be looking towards the local low, which is sitting at around 18.1k approximately. And it's also important to keep an eye on the 4-hour Bitcoin price oscillators, because for example, the RSI on the 4-hour time frame is getting very close to oversold territories. And typically when the RSI enters into oversold territories, that means that we have very limited room to the downside, at least in the immediate short term, something like this, for example. And so generally speaking, as we see the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI enter into oversold territories, that usually means we're due to see at least a little bit of a short-term bounce to help reset the RSI, which can actually potentially give us more room to the downside later on. But when we're on the 4-hour time frame, obviously this is all talking about the shorter term movements, as in what we could be expecting over the next 1 to 2 days. And so right now, technically speaking, there is still a little bit more room to the downside in the shorter term, although that room to the downside over the next 1 to 2 days is somewhat limited according to the RSI. And just before getting into the Ethereum part of this video, just quickly giving you some Bitcoin price targets if we do end up confirming this break to the downside on the 12-hour time frame. And in that case, if we do end up seeing that bearish confirmation signal on the chart, then that would set up a technical price target at the bottom of the wedge, which is sitting at around 18.3k approximately. But if the price of Bitcoin ends up breaking below that 18.3k level, then the next price target to the downside would be sitting at around 17.6k, which is pretty much exactly where the June low is sitting at. So we already know that we at least have some support at around 17.6k. But once again, I want to make it clear that these price targets only come into play once we actually see a bearish confirmation signal, such as a daily candle close below this level of support. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this right here is the daily Ethereum to US dollar chart. And right now, the price of ETH is technically forming a bearish flag, because at the moment on the daily Ethereum chart, we're seeing pretty much parallel higher highs and higher lows in the price of ETH during a larger downtrend. But once again, technically speaking, the price target for this bear flag pattern only comes into play if we see a confirmed break below this line of support, which is currently sitting at just underneath 1% 1.3k, more specifically around 1280. And alongside watching this level of support for the price action, I would also be keeping an eye on this level of support in the daily Ethereum RSI, which is pretty much right now getting retested. And so in the coming 1 to 2 days, this will definitely be a deciding moment for the price of ETH, because obviously if we end up seeing a confirmed break below these levels of support, then that would be a bearish confirmation signal setting up price targets to the downside. And in that case, if we do end up seeing those bearish confirmation signals, then that would set up a technical price target for this bear flag at around $1,000, just underneath $1,000. And in fact, if I place a horizontal level at $1,000, we can see back here during June and July that we do have a lot of support at around $1,000. And so once again, if we end up seeing a confirmed break below around 1280 on the daily time frame for the price of ETH, then I would expect potentially a drop down towards around 1,000 as a technical price target for this pattern. But as always, it is important to understand that between right now and this technical price target, even if we do see these bearish confirmation signals, there will still be some other levels of support between now and then. For example, on this 4-hour Ethereum to US dollar chart, we do have some horizontal support right here, which is also sitting at around 1280, but anything below that, then I'll be looking towards this local low, which is sitting at around 1220 as some extra support for the price of ETH. And also just on this 4-hour chart, I don't know if you can see this very well, but right now the price of ETH is currently sitting in a lower low price structure, while the 4-hour Ethereum RSI is currently forming higher low. So this is a possible bullish divergence pattern, but once again, we still need to confirm this next 4-hour candle as a green candle close, because if this next 4-hourly candle closes in the green, then that would cement this higher low in the RSI in place. And if we do end up seeing that happen, if we see this 4-hour candle close in the green, then technically speaking, this being a bullish divergence means that we're due to see reduced bearish momentum in the immediate short term for the price of ETH. So talking about the next 1 to 2 days or so, we could likely see either a little bit more sideways price action or perhaps even a slight bullish relief if this bullish divergence confirms. And if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, no matter if the price is going up, down, or chopping around sideways, then check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left of your screen shows you how to make money if the price is trending up or down, and the video in the bottom left of your screen shows you how to make money if the price is chopping around sideways. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.